Do you believe that wokeness is the central issue facing the West today? Sorry for the long-winded introduction.
It's difficult to say it's the central issue because people, but what you don't think, I don't know, war in Ukraine, or you don't think this, or you don't think that.
No. I mean more like population rates, like crop, growth rates,
look,
like GDP.
So it's not GDP, but you have to recognize that the economic model that we're operating on is completely morally and practically bankrupt, right? We keep printing money we don't have to buy things we can't afford. And the reason we keep doing that is we have an electoral system where politicians bribe you with your own money to get elected.
Well, we also borrow pretty heavily.
Well, that's what I mean. Why do we borrow heavily? Because no politician can say we are spending money we don't have. We are printing money we don't have to appease you so that you vote for me. But that is what's happening. And that is what's been happening since 2008 and before that, right? So 2008 was a moment when we had a massive financial crisis. And that was the moment when we should have had a wake-up call about the fact that what we're doing is unsustainable. Instead, what we did is we dropped interest rates to unprecedented historic levels and kept them there for the entire time up until COVID, at which point we printed even more money to pay ourselves money that we can't afford. So we are borrowing from my grandchildren. We have a housing crisis. I don't know whether it's true where you are, but in this country, it's a massive problem for young people.
I think it's a global issue.
It's a global issue. So that means that changes the way people pair up, get married, relate to each other, etc.
Sure.
When people don't have children, particularly young people, it changes the way they behave. It changes the culture. When you don't, having a child, I can tell you from experience, adjusts your mindset. And it puts you in a very different frame of mind when you look at the world, the way you see things, the way you do things,
of course,
the politics you have, etc. So you have a financial and economic system that is disincentivizing people from reproducing. A lack of reproduction changes the way people think. And then you have the digital revolution, where the way information is communicated is completely different. And you see, in terms of wokeness, all of these markers of wokeness, all of this stuff about institutional racism, patriarchy, all this stuff, that discourse takes off in the public consciousness when social media becomes mainstream. 2013, 2014, the evidence is all there on that. So you have a flawed economic system combined with a digital revolution, combined with what we talked about earlier, which is we're very, very successful. And we have been for quite some time. We've had an enormous, really long period of peace. Yes, there have been invasions of Iraq and Afghanistan, and we've had things. But generally speaking, there hasn't been a world war or a major war for a long time. So we have successive generations of people who've been unthreatened by anything, really. You put all those things together, you're going to get to where we are. So is wokeness the central issue? I don't know. There are a number of issues that are coming together. But the key point on the wokeness side of things is a society that is unwilling to stand up for itself and assert its own values will not survive. So in that sense, yes, wokeness is the central issue, because what wokeness teaches us is to view ourselves as evil, racist, the most terrible people in history, and to self-flagellate endlessly. That will lead eventually to a complete lack of confidence in ourselves, and there's only one way that can go historically.
In some ways, it's both the symptom and the root cause.
Yeah, exactly.
It's self-perpetuating.
And it's self-perpetuating.
It's the Ouroboros is this image of a snake eating itself, consumed by desire.
Well, and if you think about the core of wokeness is teaching people to be victims. When you teach people to be victims, you are disempowering them, and as a result, they become victims.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you go, look, I told you were a victim. Look how much of a victim you are, and round it goes.
Wow, they're stocking their coffers. It's
and it's a profitable industry. Yeah,
it's an incredibly profitable industry.
Yeah,
and that if not for any ideological reasons, that alone should, I think, convert people to know that there are a small number of people who are getting fabulously wealthy off of the fact that you're too stupid to see that you're being spoon-fed this nonsense, and that it's coming from on high, from people who don't give any particular kind of shit about the issues which you day in and day out claim to be the central, fight of your existence.
And there's a very simple litmus test that I like to apply to people. If you look at people who are telling you something, are they a happy person?
That's a good litmus test.
Because when I look at Joe Rogan, I think that's a really happy guy, right?
Yeah.
Right? He's enjoying life. He's happy to be doing. He's infinitely curious. He's really respectful. He's a really lovely guy. Is that a happy person? Yes. When I look at many of these activists, are they happy people? Are they fulfilled? Do they have meaning in their lives? Do they have purpose?
This is well said, my friend. This is well said.
So I want to be like the happy people because I want to be happy.
Are you happy?
My life is fucking great. And people massively overestimate how much money I make and all sorts of things. I have a great life. I run a business and a YouTube show with my friends. We have a great team of people who love being here. To them, it's a privilege to be here. And for us, it's a privilege to have really hardworking, driven people being here. My wife's amazing. My son's amazing. I get to have fascinating conversations with people that I admire on a daily basis. I get to make the impact in the world that I think needs to be made. I have thousands of people around the world who wish me well. I get to appear on really cool TV shows and make comedic stuff and satirical stuff and serious stuff and do all that. What's not to love? I have a great life. I've never been more fulfilled than I am today. So, yeah.
Flourishing.
Yeah. I'm enjoying life a lot and I'm very, very happy. And the feeling that I'm overwhelmed with all the time is just gratitude. And it's very easy for me and Francis to be grateful because we started what we do in a room above a comedy club with nothing. We had no cameras, no microphones, no name, no social media platforms where people followed us in any significant numbers. We had nothing. And we started it. We took a stand on principles that were important to us. And we've been rewarded for that with a job that we love and an opportunity to create things that we believe in. It's really easy to be grateful if you're us. But the more grateful I am, the more I realize that even when it's not easy to be grateful, it's still important to be grateful because the gratitude is what makes you a better person and makes you happier too. So yeah, very happy.